All right, so if you guys need some water during the show, feel free. That's what it's here for. And then I can get your shirt afterwards. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, how close do we need to be to this?
If you'll just talk into the mic like you're talking to the people out there, then you're all right. I mean, if you turn your head, typically what I say is just try and turn it so that you're pivoting around the microphone there.
Cool.
And we'll just make it work, whatever it is. All right, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the Sports Medicine Broadcast. We're live at the Podcast Lounge, NATA in New Orleans. Thanks for your hydration and Hoist Water for helping put this on, as well as Dragonfly Max. So I'm joined with Colin Perry and Brett McQueen. We're talking about weather and sports safety. So this is pretty cool. I had a interview with our local weather guy, our meteorologist, Tim Heller. He came out to the schools and did a podcast with me and Dr. Mark Novelak talking about weather and just how they do that. So it was really eye-opening to learn some of the stuff that they do is really just kind of like an opinion. Like when they put the rain chances, it's based off of observations, but it's not like the computer says it's this or something like that. But other than that, I'm not much of a weather guy. Usually Bill, my counterpart there, has always got weather on, or Sarah. So usually I'm the type of guy that walks outside and knows it's raining because I'm outside. Right? And so without much further ado, we're going to talk about weather and sports safety. So Brett, welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
Colin, welcome to the podcast for the very first time.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right, so Brett, you have been doing some research and I believe some talks on weather and sports safety.
Yeah, so I've done several variations of the same talk about a dozen times now, looking at new weather applications, efficacy of them, reliability, validity, just seeing what's out there, looking at the different subscription services, what works, what doesn't, and trying to get some better information out there about how to recognize different types of weather phenomena that people don't necessarily see all the time. Differentiating between shelf clouds, wall clouds, stuff like that. Things that look really scary but may not be all that scary, kind of demystifying some things. But I've really honed in on lightning, because that's the one that we talk about all the time as being a potential killer for sports and athletics and athletic trainers working in the fishing arena. Sounds like a dream job. But those are probably the most at risk folks. But it's still a big risk in all sports. And so what do people use for their lightning applications, their alert systems, and how good are they? So that's kind of what we're focusing on my different variations of the same thing.
Perfect segue. Speaking of applications people use to detect weather, Colin, why do I have you on here?
Well, because I think we're the best, weather and lightning notification system out there. But so at Perry Weather, we kind of focused on the three main areas that athletic trainers and athletic departments are impacted with weather. And so that's lightning, obviously, and then your heat and cold policies, which I think a lot of times get overlooked because, especially in Texas where we're located, I mean, heat fatalities and illnesses are actually probably a higher, issue than lightning itself. So we definitely concentrate on developing our platform to hone in on those kind of three key weather variables that you guys as athletic trainers kind of have to wrestle with almost every day.
All right, so tell me a little bit about. I understand that you're a relatively new company, right? You're relatively new.
Yeah, we're new to the in the greater sense of things, because we're only about 6 or 7 years old, where some of these other companies would be considered more dinosaurs in the industry because they've been around for a long time. But I think we've definitely established a good repertoire for being relatively new. But yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk about some of the weather applications that Brett has seen. He's going to talk some about his kind of thoughts on yours. But what do you feel as, why are you different? Why would somebody choose Perry Weather over anything else?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the first thing that I always tell athletic trainers is, we may be good at weather and weather data, but it's the athletic training departments that actually have built our platform. So athletic trainers are the ones that made everything, look and feel the way that our system is. And so we feel like we have the best system because it's, developed by the people that actually use it every day. We go in and make it happen, right? But at the end of the day, we rely on the athletic trainers and the athletic departments to give us that vital feedback on, what are the ways in which our system can be utilized to make your job easier and quicker and get that information out faster to hopefully, reduce risk related to, weather issues.
All right, so Brett, what are we looking at here? What has changed in the Lightning game?
So the Lightning game has changed a lot recently with the launch of a couple of new satellite systems and what they are able to measure and detect and look at and predict as far as Lightning data goes. A lot of that stuff's not commercially available yet, but hopefully at some point it might be. The biggest thing is there's several different lightning detection networks out there, and the ability of them to get more than just some cloud-to-ground strikes and look at more than cloud-to-cloud strikes, which predict cloud-to-ground strikes. Cloud-to-ground lightning is only about 30% of the total lightning out there. So if all you're picking up is 30%, how good are you and how safe are you? So trying to get to a platform that's going to pick up that cloud to cloud better to know whether that storm actually has lightning in it or not, regardless of when you can see it. All of those are big subscription services, and you can say you get what you pay for, and Colin and I were having this discussion earlier. It's not even that you get what you pay for because you're not paying for accurate data a lot of times. So applications, so the one I hear most common, I think Colin can agree with this, is how I just use Spark by WeatherBug, and it's perfectly fine for me. Well, you don't know where your data is coming from. You don't know how old the data is. I've had people tell me I've seen that a lightning strike will happen right there, and 30 minutes later it will tell me that strike happened 10 miles from there. It's not accurate. I can see it. And so getting to the point where we're all using systems that are accurate and reliable and give you real-time information is really where we need to get. It's kind of like paying for liability insurance. Nobody wants to do it, but at the end of the day, that's what saves things. So I think Perry Weather has, certainly they are on the top tier of products out there. There's only one other that I recommend, and it's just based on what people's needs are. For the vast majority of athletic trainers out there, it's a school district-based system or a university-based system, and that's what you need. Perry Weather, right there, done. This cake is a great platform. Colin can talk a little bit more about the pricing structure and user announce, but the only other one out there that I do recommend regularly is the DTN platform, and only because they've got their start in agriculture, so they've got a lot of hydro stuff, and they've got avionics software as well. So if you're a major hospital system that has flight crews, road crews, all that, they work along with Department of Transportation offices. That might be more advantageous from a total budget standpoint for a hospital if everybody's going to use a piece of the pie. But if what you're looking for is simply athletics and sports, lightning safety, that is real-time, accurate information that comes from the top company in the world, these guys right here are most.
So at our school, we use DTN or MX weather essentially, right? And so again, like you said, it's a district level decision. They say, okay, well, this is what we're going to go with. This is what we're going to. Everybody's going to use. This is going to be the standard. We're going to set it up so that it gives you those lightning alerts and you can text it out to all the coaches. And again, that was one of the battles that we had is us as athletic trainers would get the text for the lightning, and then we'd have to send it out in an email or text to everybody else. And if I don't have my phone or somebody else, whatever, but if all 12 football coaches on the field get it, and one of them has their phone, one of them's going to know, hey, it's time to go.
Sure. Yeah, I know it's only advantageous for the athletic trainer to be the only one getting the information if you have an athletic trainer who is with every sport every day at all locations and I don't know a high school that does that in the country. If there's a high school out there that has 20 athletic trainers who look at 20 sports, please let us know, because that's pretty cool. But we're not even having a university level most of the time. And so how do we combat that? We get on platforms where the coaches are giving the same information you are, and then they have no choice but to abide by whatever policy you have. From a policy standpoint, the accuracy of most of those platforms out there is just not good enough to fit with our policy. It's one thing that Clearweather's data is good at. It's pinpoint, it's precise, it's the same every single time, and it's real time. So that's certainly something that I recommend if people are going to stick to a policy of it is this far away, get off the field. You've got to have something that's accurate and reliable. Because I've seen the same Spark message come in to 5 different people with 5 different distance locations at the same time. That's not accurate.
All right, so Colin, you said Perryweather was built by more or less for athletic trainers, by athletic trainers, or the people in athletics. What are you guys doing to continue to create that there? Or what are some of the things that you've seen that others have done well, and then you guys have, kind of gone from there as well?
I think you guys just alluded to it a second ago, is that, as great as these automated text and email alerts can be, you as athletic trainers, can't be all places at all times. And with our system, we'll give access to every single one of your coaches, but, coaches are coaching. I've been a coach, and I usually don't have my phone on me when I'm out there on the field. So, it kind of in response to that, we still give everybody access that'll track their GPS, because you've got, you may be on site, but you've got, different teams going to different locations, and you're not, aware of what's going on or where they may be. But, we also developed an outdoor warning system. So it's an audible and visual alerting siren unit that can kind of take care of the issues where, the coaches don't have their phones, and the ATs are in there, in their offices doing rehab on, an ACL or whatever, wrapping ankles. And, that kind of takes out the guessing work of, I didn't have my phone on me, or I wanted, that coach wanted to get, a couple more plays in, even though they did get the alerts. And so that was kind of one of the ways in which we were, I feel like, have been pretty innovative and adding that to our platform. And, we're really the only ones that can do that, or that have that access. And then we worked with, last year, we worked with the KPI Institute up in Connecticut, and kind of dealt with their medical professionals with heat and cold policies. So we, discussed a lot of the issues related to this industry with kind of measuring heat and cold policies, and how do you go about doing that? What are the tools available for that? And so we developed our own in-house weather stations that we've actually installed, all over the country, and it's bringing in live, global temperatures, heat index, wind chill, wind speeds, rainfall, with HD camera, and so that's been massive, and been able to get real-time data to individuals across the country, and really trying to look at how do we continue to push the envelope with weather, because it's not perfect, and we're going to continue to grow. But I think those are two great ways in which we've really tried to kind of see where we can expand and try to help the industry out.
All right, so again, speaking of the weather, the stuff that y'all seen, speak well of some of the other weather platforms. Obviously, we're not here to sell.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are some of the things that maybe someone's not going to go with Perry, but what are some of the things that you've seen and you like from other providers?
I think the bottom line is, Brett hit on it, is, you're going to get what you pay for. And so if you're looking at a free service, you're going to where, there's just not the right kind of data that you need, not in real time, and it's almost more of a liability than it is helping you. So I think, the product like DTN or Networks, they're going to be able to provide a lot of those facets that we do provide, and they do it. They've been around a lot longer than we have, and so they've done it well. And so, I have nothing but good things to say about them. And so it's really just a matter of, budget and then what you're looking for, like Brett was saying. But yeah, there's definitely viable options, for an array of needs. And so it's really just at the end of the day, exploring those needs, exploring those companies, and figuring out, you as an athletic department or as an athletic training group, which one fits our needs best.
All right, so Brett, we're talking a lot about lighting, but you're not just speaking about lighting, you're speaking about other ways. You said cloud formations and cloud strikes and those kind of things. So what else do most athletic trainers, Brett, need to know about the cloud formations and lighting? And really, you're going to keep it simple because I'm not studying clouds.
Sure, yeah. So we all see those clouds that look really scary, and sometimes they are and need to be treated as such, but sometimes they're not all that scary. They just look cool. So probably the most common example of that is what we call a shelf cloud, and that's the one that spans the entire horizon. It's just like this massive wedge of something coming at you. And a lot of times it gets misreported to the National Weather Service as a wall cloud. Wall clouds are characteristics on major thunderstorms or even squall line thunderstorms. It's a lowering from the cloud base that is rotating, and that's where tornadoes end up playing. A shelf cloud is just a frontal boundary coming through, and typically that's the ones where you get a big burst of wind, a big breeze, all of a sudden the temperature changes rapidly, something like that. But they're scary and nasty. I think they're cool, but a lot of people think they're terrifying when they come in and make the sky get up. So when people start hearing reports, obviously, one person says one thing and then everybody says, "Oh, there's a wall cloud." Not necessarily. Okay. So I think that's one of the common themes that the National Weather Service is trying to do. Obviously, especially in the plain states, the Tornado Alley states, there are storm spotter training classes that people can go learn about all these things. But they're trying to get a better push from reliable people, medical professionals being on that list, to report things in. And so knowing what those things look like can help as far as a reliable report for what you're seeing on the field. At the end of the day, meteorologists are wonderful, they're very smart people, but most of the time they're sitting in a building behind a computer. Sometimes in order to tell what the weather's doing, you just have to step outside and look at the weather, like you were saying, you're a guy that steps out and it's raining because of the effects. That's important. But knowing what clouds are dangerous and what clouds are probably okay is important. I talked on Tuesday in the talk I gave here about since I was out kayaking a couple weeks ago, and all of a sudden there's a shelf cloud there, and the last place I want to be in a kayak is in the middle of the lake if there's lightning coming at me. So I pull out my phone and I see on the radar that there's a big outflow boundary coming through from some thunderstorms that are 100 miles away. That are just so much energy they pushed out this front, and that's all I'm seeing. I'm seeing a big shelf cloud from an outflow boundary. It's totally harmless to me in that instance. So those are the things that it's important to know. One of the questions I had in the talk is, what are the guidelines on wind? Because we've had a lot of wind this year. Hey, well, that those kick up a lot of wind. If you have a lot of loose dirt and dust to place, well, that might cause a bunch of eye irritation issues for you as the athletic trainer. So it's all about mitigating risk. And if you can look at a crowd and say, "Ooh, that's risky. Let's go ahead and get everybody inside." Lightning or no lightning, maybe that's helpful information to have.
All right, so Colin, just talking about as far as the cloud formations and the storms coming through, is there anything in the Perry weather system that does that, or is it just the possible? I just got a text right now from DTN saying possible dangerous thunderstorm in your area or whatever. So what does that look like there?
Yeah. So yes and no. We on our system light imagery layer that you could go into that would show you kind of some of the clouds that are out there, or obviously radar imagery that's going to show you precipitation intensity. And so the darker and warmer those colors are, obviously the more dangerous they're going to be, or the heavier they're going to be. But in essence, we're really trying to keep things really simple. And so I think it is important to, in situations like this, to get educated and to learn about kind of some of the nuances that you hear that may sound a little bit scary for the person that's not, a cloud expert or a weather person, but kind of understanding some of these basics, I think does help in decision-making processes. But with our platform, what we're really trying to do is create kind of a very simple system where they can look, receive the alerts, and make a decision based off of that. The only other thing that I would say that we do provide is, we do have on staff meteorologists. So, part of the platform is that they, as athletic, and medical professionals, you can actually reach out by phone or email to our staff and talk to an actual meteorologist and say, hey, I'm not getting any alerts. I don't see lightning in the area, but I see this crazy, really scary cloud. Can you give me an idea of what's going on? Am I missing something? Is this something to be concerned with? And so that you can actually talk to somebody that knows what they're talking about and walk you through that situation and say, hey, storms are actually going to be popping up in the next 20 to 30 minutes. I know there's no lightning yet, but there's a high probability of it coming soon. So if you've got a big stadium full of people, or if you've got a game scheduled for a little bit later on, keep abreast of what's going on and call us back or shoot us an email if you have any other questions. So.
All right, so I know you guys had a siren going off here at the end of the day yesterday. So that's one of the kind of new features. I think ForeGuard is the only other brand that I know of that has that outside lightning alert, so that the tennis courts can hear it. So it's the same as the football, and the band on the other side of the school. Talk a little bit about that system and.
Yeah, and actually that system was basically created, in response to the ForeGuard system. I think the no knock on ForeGuard, but it was the only thing at a long time, and so we went at it from a different approach. Like Brett was mentioning, we tie into a ground-based lightning network that we subscribe to that feeds into our system, and so these are actual confirmed strikes, cloud to cloud and cloud to ground, with a high detection efficiency. Whereas the old ForeGuard system is going to be having a sensor on site that's going to be measuring static electricity. So where our system is going to be actual lightning strikes and that's it. Something like a ForeGuard or different static electricity sensor, that's going to be measuring the potential for something. But a lot of those static electricity features can actually be created by or duplicated by other things such as spider webs or dust in the air or a leaf or just overall damage from something. And so
transformer blowing down the street, something.
Right. And so our system was developed to kind of get rid of that component and just feed our lightning data into it. And so really our units and our boxes are just have the ability to set that same radius for the lightning and send off a loud blast when that lightning gets within that 8 miles or 6 miles or 10 miles, whatever your school's policy is. And then you could customize it to have 3 single blasts for an all clear after 30 minutes or whatever policy you guys abide by. And so those things have been super helpful for getting that immediate response to the masses, where like I said, an athletic trainer is in their office, and we know that most athletic training offices are basically 4 cinder block walls. There's not a lot of athletic training offices that have windows in them, and so even if you are able to look outside, there's value in being able to have that taken care of, so you're not having to get in your gator or get out on your feet and run down everybody and make sure that they saw their phones and they're getting off the field.
Yeah, that's one of the great options, and I know we can continue the conversation talking about the features. And Brett, I know you're doing talks around, and maybe at some point we can kind of continue to go a little bit more in depth. At this point, we're going to close it out. So if someone wants to get a hold of you, Colin or Brett, how are they going to do that?
Go ahead, Brett.
Easiest way for me, you can catch me on Twitter. I think it's either B.McQueen42 or B.McQueen42. I don't know which it is, but or email brett.mcqueen@outlook.com, and I'd be happy to help anybody navigate some of the systems that you might be interested in.
And again, Brett's been on the podcast a couple times, Skyping in. So if you would like to have a presentation in your sports medicine class, something like that, about weather, or he's got a couple other topics as well, then you can hit him up and you can be the guest speaker there. So, all right, Colin.
Yeah, well, thanks again, for having me. And so the easiest way is just perryweather.com. Honestly, my email is Colin with one L, COLIN at perryweather.com. If you've got any questions or just want to reach out to me, feel free to. But perryweather.com, and you can get a hold of me or anybody else just by going there and checking out what we've got to offer too.
All right, so for Jeremy Jackson, Sports Medicine Broadcast at the Podcast Lounge, NATA 2018, that is a wrap. All right.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks again, guys. Appreciate it.
Good information for the Sparks.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
Start of a conversation.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for having us, Jeremy. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Do you need anything from me?
Yeah, there it is right here. Let me show you just 1 second. Yeah, Brad already got his. You can hop down here.
I'm in the hot seat again, right?
All right. Casey's right there. Medium right here. Yeah. Keep right here. I have rest of. You ready for these two, Rob? This one, they're talking about ankle bracing and taping.
You get the picture.
And then the next one is just you and Casey doing the LLC.
You get a picture of this someplace in the showing what's possible.
Oh, you?
Huh? I'm back. Now I'm ranting.
Color, hey, they're
About what?
good. What I wanted. I just made 4 sales and created another partnership. Bro, I left y'all a little bit of